Hey, good morning. So I got a bunch of stuff here in the shop I need to get done. I got some body work, finish work on the tailgate, the back of the box, bed rails, and finish up some of that work. And try to get my straps, the limit straps for the tailgate. I'm going to put that back on and try to get those located so I can get that box work finished up. But I got a little distraction today. I'm going to help one of my boys move a couple of vehicles. He's got a pickup and a car that need to be trailered, and we're going to store them here for the winter. So I've got to try to get some stuff done here in the shop and then go help him. It's going to take all day or maybe two to get that stuff moved around. And so anyhow, I'm going to get after it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming along. So kind of hang out with me if you don't mind. Well, this is where I'm at. I boxed in this outer rail, which was kind of ugly. I boxed in the end of the tailgate. So that it all looks clean. Don't have those edges and unfinished looking areas. And I did the same down here. Recovered this area, finished it off nice. So my plan today is to figure out how I'm going to do these straps. Couldn't figure out exactly what to do, so I got some adjustable limit straps. And on the ends I have these tabs that I can actually mount with, or mount to my bed with. And I have the tabs here, the locating tabs, and I've got a few bolts. I'm going to attach this here, and I need to figure out up here where to mount this, where when it closes, it's not going to run into each other, and I want it as high as I can get it. So if I get it up here, there should be plenty of room for that. And I can adjust this a little tighter. So I'm going to go with that right there, as long as it'll swing out of the way of the gate. There we go. As long as that'll swing out of the way and don't hit anything, I think that'll work just fine. Okay. Just mark that spot. And what I'm going to do up here is use some of these thread inserts, these rivet nuts. I'll drill a big enough hole, put that in there, and crimp that into place, and that'll give me a threaded insert that shouldn't pull out. And before I put that insert in, I need to do a little welding and probably a little skim of filler over that. And I can mark the other side and do the same thing. I'll just measure, take these measurements. These are the same on both sides. So I'll just measure down and over on the other side, which would be probably the easiest. So let me just mark this the same. 7/8. 4 inches. Now I know it's the same on both sides. And I'll do the other side while I got the bit in there. I was going to weld these up before, but I didn't know for sure if we can be able to use that or not, and it's just a little bit too low. So I'll weld those up real quick. Alright, so what I did here was drill a 7/16 hole in this thread insert, jack nut, rivet nut. This one actually is a jack nut. But anyhow, we'll put that in, insert that into that hole. I got it where I want it, so I will thread it onto my tool here. Just pop it in that hole. Squeeze out, draw that up tight. Run that down there some more. And all we're doing is making this tight crimp. And I'm not going to pull so tight that I break this thing. That nut will actually seat pretty good. Chances if you really reef on this, there's a good chance you're going to break something here or even break that loose inside. More chances of breaking this. This is just a Harbor Freight set. Pretty handy. I've used it a few times. I love it. Anyhow, we wind up with a nice threaded insert. It's a good finish. It's not going to pull out, strip out. Looks good. We'll get the one on the other side now. I never did pick up the bolts that I wanted, so I'm just going to use what I have for now. But I did get this put where I wanted it. And then this is going to go right down here where I want it. Like so. And I can actually, tools here, I can actually draw that up a little bit. Probably should throw the one on the other side too, huh? Let's do that. All right, well, I feel really good about what I got done so far. I wanted to spend more time out here in the shop, but I committed to helping my boy move a couple of his rigs. So we're gonna go get that done. That's gonna take the rest of the day and probably tomorrow to get all that taken care of. But anyhow, we'll get back to this soon. I gotta get that done, and I'll show you what we're doing with that, what vehicles we're moving and stuff. So come on along. This is my boy Bryce's car. We're gonna store it out here for the winter. Well, we got her unloaded here. This is where she's gonna sit for the winter. There's Bryce, one of my boys. Bryce, I was thinking about telling the story about how you acquired this car, and I'd love to hear it.
Well, I'd be happy to tell you the story. This is a plain Jane 1969 Dodge Coronet, 440 model. Came factory with a 318 two barrel.
So because it says 440, it doesn't mean it has a 440.
To me, it's just a designation of a model, and then in happenstance they built the 440. I don't know. Mopar guys will correct me on that. I'm sure I'll get slung in the comments.
Like false advertisement.
Yeah. It did feel like false advertisement, but the money I paid, it was a score. I worked at a tire shop, and I saw this sweet little old lady driving this car around, and she pulled in one day, and I got her air checked, and before I could talk to her, she was out the door. And for about 3 years, I'd see this car driving around where I lived, and every time I tried to turn around and just kind of follow her, get an idea of where she lived, to look for it, to talk to her, she'd always seem to get away, whether it was traffic or speed, I don't know.
Sounds like a stalker.
Yeah, it was definitely a stalker situation, but when you see something you want, you got to go for it. And one day she was parked at a local hamburger joint, and I saw the car, and I said, today's the day. And so I stopped off for lunch, ordered a hamburger, and found, I didn't even know who this lady was. I just found a little old lady sitting with a friend, and I went and talked to her about her car and told her that I loved it and would be interested in owning it someday if it wasn't promised to a relative, or I'd figured it was already spoken for. But she was very gracious. I gave her my information, let her know where I was working, and about 2 months later, she called up the place where I was working and was looking to get rid of it, and she gave me a more than reasonable fair deal. I was newly married with a kid on the way, so I didn't have a whole lot to play with.
You mind saying how much you paid for it?
I offered her $2,500 because that's everything I had, basically, that wouldn't have been too foolish to spend, and she said, I'll take $2,000. And bless her heart, that was probably one of the kindest gifts I've ever been given, and to this day we swap Christmas cards and enjoy each other's company from time to time.
So this car has a name?
She had a name for it, and it is Snodgrass, and it was to some reference of an old, like, World War II plane from some movie that she had watched, and dirty old 70s colors. Snodgrass fits perfectly. I'm colorblind, but to me it looks pretty brown. So, but it's got a white top and cool tires on it now, and still 318 powered. But I still think she's one of the coolest people to ever walk the planet, because she was driving this thing, and it wasn't in the best running shape, but she'd drive it everywhere. So
that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bryce.
Absolutely.
I thought it was a great story. I was going to tell it, and I couldn't remember how the whole story went, and I was going to end up making up a story, and I wanted to right from the horse's mouth. And then he's got a 65 D100 stuffed back in the corner there too. That's another project for a later time. And he's got another Mopar 70 what Duster?
1973 Duster. Just another plain Jane slant six
leaning tower
low
power.
Option car. That's all and it's an ugly 70s color. Some sort
Gold.
of gold.
It's a gold Duster.
Gold. Yeah, but it's not even a gold Duster.
It's not a gold Duster, but it's gold. Anyhow, thanks, Bryce.
Yeah.